getting everybody's story, just kind of a start in terms of what got them interested in psychedelics and just the mindset behind it. So I guess I can start with you, Robert, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So I'll give you the quick version. After my NFL career, and I dealt with some of it during it, but as my career ended, and I was trying to figure out, who I was as a person in the next part of my life, issues started popping up that I thought were just part of normal life, but then they got very intense as far as my rage, depression, then it turned into, suicidal nightmares, suicidal ideation, and to the point where, I was abusing alcohol to help cope with it, and then just cognitive stuff, right? I was having issues, at times remembering my kids' names or trying to get words out, just the cognitive issues of things. And I knew I'd hit my head a lot, obviously, during my career, but that's who we were. It was our job, and didn't think much other of it. So I got to rock bottom for me, and reached out for help, and it was actually through my workers' comp case. I had a brain scan, and that kind of gave me the answer to why these things were going on. I had a ton of brain damage on that scan, and that started my healing journey. I was, as an athlete, most of us are all in everything we do, whether it's positive or negative, and so I went all in for my family to try and heal. And after a couple years of trying all the modern medicine type treatments, hyperbaric chamber, IVs, different medicines, all these different things, I wasn't any better. And by chance, I heard a former college football player and retired Navy SEAL Marcus Capone is his name. Okay. Heard him on a podcast on Marcus Luttrell's Team Never Quit podcast. And Marcus and his wife were talking about their organization, Vets, that he had started because of his journey. Talked about all the things that I thought it was myself talking as I listened to him, and then he talked about in the end he found ibogaine that healed and helped him get through his tough time and healed a lot of the things he was dealing with. So I reached out to Marcus and Amber. I knew nothing about plant medicine at that point. I smoked marijuana a couple times in my life, so I was very new to all of that. But long story short, 3 weeks later, I was in Mexico with a group of special ops veterans going through ibogaine and 5-MeO-DMT, and it was the changing point of my life. I came out of it cognitively much better, emotionally, came back with zero suicidal thoughts and ideation, no anxiety. I was 100% a different person. And so that began my real journey with plant medicine. I've done a ton of work since then. Experienced other plant medicines. Went back. I've done ibogaine a total of 3 times. That's the medicine for me. Even with the other plant medicines I've done, the ibogaine was the big catalyst and the one that has really worked for me and got me into, this lifestyle of, I was not the person that would meditate, do breathing things. So it has changed my life, how I live my life, how I think, open my mind to new things, how I think as a person, and just overall the type of person I am and how I live my daily life. So that's kind of the short version of it.
Okay. I definitely understand. And Robert, I know you retired. You've been retired for a number of years now. I'm just curious, from back when you were playing, was there a lot of talk in the locker rooms about, alternative methods and things of that nature while you were playing?
Obviously guys had their modalities that they use, but as far as plant medicine, not the places I was at. I was at the majority of my career in Oakland and then Seattle, but there was not much talk of that. Obviously, a lot of guys used marijuana for different reasons, for pain, for coping. that was something that just didn't agree with me. I didn't, tried it a couple times. It did not work for me. It made me feel sick. So I was trying to find other things to cope with things throughout my career. Like the other guys said, I had injuries. I was on a team that, we never were above 500, right? So those dreams of coming in and doing all these things, right? We all live a different story, but we're all there for the same reason in that moment, right? Is to win and to be successful and all these things. So dealing with all that stuff, right? I didn't have or know of many other options or modalities to help cope with those things, and that's why alcohol was that for me. When I was playing, it was beer, right? It was like Jordan said, win or lose, right? It's a case of beer to drown the pain and the mental and physical pain, and as time goes on, that gets worse because you're not sleeping and all these different things. And then as I retired, I needed to lose weight, wanted to lose weight, so I switched to tequila, and drank just as much. It was, something that I told myself, oh, my body processed and I can handle this, which I could, and that's when it gets scary. So, I commend these other guys that heard these things and saw people using other modalities to be able to learn sooner than I did. But that's as I said, why we're here to help spread the word. That's why I started the foundation I did, to give others options. Right? It's not necessarily my options, but all of us have a large library of things that we've tried, things that we've done, people we've met, and we hope we can pass it on to the future generations of athletes.
But has there been any, pushback from people, whether it's like, I don't know if you heard from the league offices or even coaching staffs that had their warnings about it, or do they really don't care anymore? Is that something that they focus too deeply on?
Because I have done a ton of outreach like these other guys with, I started the Foundation Athletes for Care. I've done a ton of outreach and had people actually reach out to me since they saw my story. And I think Jordan said it very well, but I also think that I have found personally different people within, whether it was college or the professionals, and I'm not talking higher ups in the NFL, but I'm talking people that work within these programs, right? There's the openness to healing is much more than I thought it would be. I have people that I have great relationships that I worked with, at the professional level and collegiate level that have either reached out to me and congratulated me on finding something that brought healing, and have been open to discussions. Some people in higher up positions that have, want more information now. Are they going to go help, talk to their bosses and help push this movement? That will be seen. But I do, you have the people that is like, how you doing? And when you really tell them, great, gotta go, right? There's those coaches, those people that Jordan and Jonathan and I both know. And then the people that sit and talk to you, and I was in that mind frame, when I was struggling, maybe even before or during, some plant medicine stuff, that I gave them how I was feeling. It wasn't just the answer. I had been opened up, like Jordan said, and I talked about what was going on, and they truly cared. So I think that's been a pleasant surprise for me, and I think that will continue to grow, and we will see, like Jordan said, it's not about, them. I'm not here blaming the NFL or the University of Iowa for my brain damage and all the things that I've lived through. Like Jordan said, I could give two shits. This is not me going after them. This is about healing and helping others heal and myself heal.